Hi everyone, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to know more about the facts about Lucy and what's been said between government departments and what really is going on. So let's dive in straight away. So these again are Freedom of Information records and other records that I've been given. So this is an email exchange between the US Fish and Wildlife Service and the North Carolina Zoo. Valley Zoo has minimal facilities for this animal. The zoo's management's been striving to get rid of this animal. That was Samantha, the companion African elephant that was for a few years at Edmonton Valley Zoo. But the interesting bit isn't that, it's this. The biggest stumbling block being city government that doesn't understand animal management, conservation, inter-zoo management programs, to say the least. Getting to this point has been a great deal of work for the Valley Zoo. So we say well done them for, wanting Samantha to go to a better place. But why didn't they want the same for Lucy? So they don't have space for this animal by itself, and they don't have room for any more. So they didn't have room for Lucy. They didn't have room for one elephant, let alone two. So Samantha went off, and I'll just show you quickly what happened to her. So there's Lucy and Samantha together. We know they got along. It's in zoo records, and it was seen. So, and in the 2005 Edmonton official published plan, it says they were thinking about bringing in another Asian elephant for Lucy. So we know Lucy is an elephant. She does love her elephants. So, but this is what happened, right? So this is Lucy, this is Samantha. So Lucy, that's where she lives. And that's what she's made to do. Have silly music sticks shoved up in nostrils. This is what happened to Samantha. Look at that. That's another zoo, but look at it. Look at the lovely facilities, the size of the barn. I mean, wouldn't Lucy, be far happier there than there? I mean, it doesn't take much imagination, does it? Right, anyway, let's get back to this. So, we know there are 14 yes, Lucy can move opinions. We've talked about that in previous videos. So this is right. There is no evidence Lucy's too sick to be moved. The expert elephant transport vets can do it, and they've said that for absolute decades. And the council said it themselves in 2005. Lucy could move. CASA said it as well once. So let's just have a look. What's going on here? So it says here it's not in Lucy's best interest to have her stressed. However, she wasn't stressed when she moved to Calgary. There was nothing in her records to say she was stressed at all. So when, the zoo are saying this, there isn't any evidence Lucy gets stressed travelling at all. Every time she travelled to Calgary for breeding, she wasn't trained to travel, and Calgary said she wasn't stressed at all. It says it here, the zoo claims Lucy was moved more than 20 years ago to the Calgary Zoo on 2 separate breeding loans. She became stressed. In fact, and that's the point, it's the facts. There's no evidence of it. They've talked to the elephant keepers at Calgary Zoo who were at the zoo when Lucy arrived. She was not stressed. And if Lucy had been stressed by the first move, then surely Edmonton wouldn't have sent her intentionally to cause her distress a second time. It makes sense, doesn't it? And Lucy was not carefully conditioned for the moves because they didn't have the knowledge or the expertise to do so. And this time it would be the world's best elephant movers moving Lucy, who keep saying Lucy can move. Now, it says here the risk to Lucy's health is greater if she's left in Edmonton. So, is it? Well, these are all infections and stress and injuries. So it's not going well for Lucy being there, and she has got lung damaging toxins that the Alberta Health and Safety Department reported in either 2022 or 2023. These years go so quickly now, and nothing ever changes for Lucy. So we know there's lung damaging toxins for Lucy. And if her breathing is such an issue, why are they in there? The zoo bought the sand, nobody else did. So, here we are. CASA are advising us to get out of elephants. and again, this is interesting, you know, larger outside space, proper safety, restraint equipment, increased operational budget as seen in other zoological facilities. It's not unreasonable to commit $15 to $20 million to achieve this goal. Well, for $15 to $20 million, you could achieve that goal. And the councillors paid this from taxpayers' money. But there's no goals achieved. That's not a goal. You know, that hasn't changed in decades for poor Lucy. Right then, what have we got here? So we've done that bit. Evidence of Lucy's distress. So, the Alberta SPCA said they have no authority to investigate cruelty complaints. Okay, so not sure why that's still on the Edmonton website then. There doesn't seem to be anybody that is. It's not the police, it's not the RCMP. There doesn't seem to be any oversight from any independent, even though there is supposed to be. And that's another problem. Nobody wants to take responsibility. So everything just carries on as normal with everybody getting upset. So we've got vets here, and these are people with like 30 years experience in zoo and wild animal medicine. You know, and these people are saying the conditions and standard of care for Lucy at the Valley Zoo have caused and will continue to enhance ongoing health problems, to include arthritis, pressure sores, obesity, irregular sleep and foot problems, all of which correspond with Lucy's records and the other vet reports. So, you know, Lucy's not having a happy time there. And what's more important, someone taking a picture of an elephant doing that, or an elephant enjoying life doing that? You know, for all animal lovers, Lucy should be where Lucy's best off. So, what happens to Lucy? She goes on these walks, doesn't she? So Lucy spent some 7.5% of her time on walks under the control of keepers carrying bull hooks. While I have no reason to doubt the intentions of the keepers and while exercise is good for her, having spent several hours observing Lucy, I can say these walks offer her no autonomy whatsoever. Every movement is controlled. This causes her privation and suffering. You know, due to the cold and the keeper's schedules, the vast majority of Lucy's life has been spent inside a small barn. On at least 25 days of the year, the daily log of maximum temperatures indicate Lucy did not go outside of the barn at all. The result is Lucy has spent much of her life standing on concrete, or the mats they put in there, as they have got now, even though they're not thick enough, and doing very little of what an elephant needs to do to maintain good physical health and mental well-being. Makes sense, doesn't it? If you had a horse that was always stabled, I mean, what's its mental and physical health going to be like? If you've got a dog that's on a chain, what's it going to be like? I mean, they'll be alive, but to what welfare standard? The consequence is she's a young elephant in an old body. She is a young elephant. You know, elephants in sanctuaries are 90 years old. You know, wouldn't we want that for Lucy? Lucy has been and is now deprived of a normal elephant's life, which at its very essence should include some semblance of autonomy and freedom to roam. It is my conclusion, therefore, that she has lacked and continues to lack the basic necessities and comforts of life. How sad. And that her poor condition is a condition resulting from this lack. I have no reservation in concluding that she is currently subjected to undue hardship, privation and neglect. Zoo officials are making false claims about Lucy's stereotypical behaviour, calling it, I can't even say that word, is a misleading description which would seem to suggest to the public that they are observing a normal behaviour. It's not. Lucy may engage in more stereotypical behaviour when she's waiting for something to happen, but it's an expression of frustration caused ultimately by her artificial environment that does not allow her to satisfy her normal behavioural needs. So let's remind ourselves, the Edmonton Valley website says all animals will be seen in a natural environment where they can display natural behaviours. Well, the vets are saying something completely different here. And it's not just one vet. There's loads of vets saying it. So we go on to, you know, the Alberta Zoo standards. This is the law, and this is what, you know, people pay for, and you expect that as a minimum standard. All animals must be maintained in numbers sufficient to meet their social and behavioural needs. So we know from the 2005 plan that Lucy could enjoy the company of an Asian elephant. So why hasn't she got another Asian elephant? And if Edmonton don't have facilities, then the best thing for Lucy is to be somewhere where they do have other Asian elephants. And that's, you know, the zoo standards are written to avoid cruelty and suffering. And I didn't write these. Alberta government wrote these as a, you know, collaboration with people who were out to make sure that there was no suffering in zoos. You know, I take my hat off to them, well done. But if you write this stuff to avoid suffering and you're teaching kids education about wildlife, you know, this is your gold standard, or at least your minimum standard. But Lucy doesn't have that. So here's another expert vet, 28 years experience, captive wild animal vet at zoos. You know, Lucy's in pain, is suffering, is subjected to privation, does not meet the CASA standard. And then you've got another Asian elephant expert from India. You know, it's all the same. Dr. Zimmerman is a Alberta vet, and Lucy's outdoor enclosure is approximately half an acre, surrounded by low metal barrier electric fence. There's no vegetation in the enclosure, and the ground is mainly hard-packed earth. There is ample vegetation outside the enclosure, giving the impression of a lush environment, but it is inaccessible to Lucy. The zoo therefore appears to be in violation of the Government of Alberta standards for zoos and Alberta standards related to the Animal Protection Act. There are pages and pages and pages of this. You know, if you're watching an elephant walk on concrete, you know, why wouldn't we prefer to watch an elephant roam? So we could go on, but I just wanted to show people that there's pages of it, absolute pages. Okay, so I hope this gives a little insight into why advocates feel so strongly about Lucy. I know saving elephants isn't everybody's ball game, but Lucy is such a clever soul. And we just think, you know, if there's a dog on a chain down the end of the street that you walk past every morning, you know, you'd want something better for that dog, and you would call the rescue services. And, you know, people feel the same thing about Lucy. So I hope one day Lucy goes from this to this. Thanks for listening.